Hello, everybody, and welcome to the circle on the gap between knowing and doing. For those of you who are new, I'm Janine. I am down here in South Africa where we are having winter, and we were having summer until Monday. And the mist was so thick you could hardly see off the porch, and winter definitely walked in the door. I am delighted to have you all here and thank you for joining me live and on the replay. If you have any questions on the replay, you can pop it in the comments below and I will come back and answer it, or else you can just email me and we can take it from there. Those of you who've got my WhatsApp, you can put the questions in my WhatsApp. I don't mind. I may not answer you immediately. I will get to it though. So, people, what I would like us to do before we do anything else is just to stop, take a deep, for those who us, Deborah, I know you this time breathe through your mouth, Deborah. Take a deep breath in through your nose and just let it out. And do it again. Breathe in and just let it out and feel your body softening. Feel your body just allowing itself to simply be. And as you do this, ask yourself, what is my intention for today? What would I like to receive from this call today? Now pick up your pen and just jot down 2 or 3 things that you would like to receive from this call today. Just feel it, experience it, and know what it is. What are your anticipations? We avoid expectations because they disappoint us. What are your anticipations of today? There we go. I am part of a personal development program that we meet every month. And when people say to me, yeah, but they're just saying the same thing over and over again, I look at them and I say, well, what was your intention about coming here? And I learn to do that for the circle and whatever meetings I'm going to, because intention is one of the most powerful things that helps us to work with the gap between knowing and doing. Because when we understand the intention, when we understand where we're going, it makes such an incredible difference. That's beautiful. Calmness and clarity. Please pop your intentions in the chat and then we can see them if you're comfortable with that. Now, intention is a focus. It helps us know where we are going. And when we choose to navigate our knowing and into the doing and the creating, intention is a powerful force because it helps us understand what is our vision, where are we going, and what are we going there for? Because what I have experienced, one of the most important things around the gap is we have the vision, and sometimes it's less than compelling, it's less than helpful. And guess what? We go, is it really worth the energy? Is it really worth me putting effort into this? Whereas when our intention is, well, what is the vision behind my vision? What is the vision behind that knowing? It helps us to move forward in a much, much more authentic, aligned way. Now, for those of you who are sitting, if you can pop your feet on the floor, if your legs are crossed, just make yourself comfortable because we are going to start. And these beautiful intentions of calmness, clarity in aha moments, aligned action on personal steps and a sense of lightness, Yes, that lightness is amazing. It's all part of this enjoying structure to get to my intentions. I love that. Deborah, you've got to have the intentions first and then we pop the structure in. That is all part of the knowing. Isn't it wonderful? I love what's coming up here. And as we feel these intentions, allow yourself to just gently close your eyes. I don't know how you close them less than gently. Hi, Sonia. Just allow yourself to feel your eyes closing, releasing, softening. Now, again, take a deep breath in through your nose. Feel it going all the way down to your toes. And now release it out. Imagine it coming, as it comes out of your mouth, imagine it coming out of your heart space. Now breathe it in again, all the way down to your toes. Feel your tummy expanding, your rib cage expanding, your body just becoming lighter and lighter and lighter. There we go. Just feel it, allow it, and think about your intention. Where do you feel it in your body? Is it a color? Is it a person? Is it a thought? And what is the reason you would like this intention? What will it bring you? What does it afford you? And where does it center you? Oh, somebody's body relaxed nicely there. Just breathe in again and breathe out. Feel yourself just softening, letting go. As that intention scrolls in front of you on the back of your eyelids, notice where your body tightens. Notice where your body feels, oh, there's tension here. Oh, what if I let go of that intention? Whenever we have an intention, we look for where the tension is in our body, because that is what is going to draw us from knowing over the bridge of the gap into the doing. Many people step back. What a waste of time. Whereas when we go forward with the tension, it draws us towards the better step, the most ease-filled step. Check out in your body where that tension is. Thank it. Welcome it. And go, wow, thank you for showing up. I really appreciate you. You're jolly uncomfortable. And that's okay. Feel that tension pulling you. And I left the elastic bands behind. I just realized that's okay. Imagine an elastic band pulling you. Go with the elastic band rather than pulling against it in your body and in your thinking. Take a deep breath in again and just let it out. There we go. Feel it and come back to me completely. Open your eyes and shake your shoulders. Shake, 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 shake. Shake your head. What's that song? Shake your body. Shake it. Let it go. Let's get rid of all the yucky, yucky, yucky of the day, of yesterday, of all the days. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your hands. Keep your rings on though. Shake, 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 shake. The other day I shook my hands and my rings just went boof. So I had to go and fetch them. Well done. Would anybody like to share what happened for them while we were just feeling our intention and exploring any tension. Unmute yourself and share. Going from meaning to the purpose. That's a beautiful intention, Nigel. Love it.
Yeah. Janine, I think you'd make a good rock and roll dancer.
My daughter and my son would absolutely disagree with you. They beg me not to dance in
I hope you
public.
don't mind, but I didn't do any shaking because
I know
I'm
you.
40. I don't really want to have to be calling in an emergency, if you understand.
We do understand. I know you have joint challenges, but you know what you can do? You take your fingers and you just do this. That helps as well. Alternatively, you run your hand down like this, and
Can I?
that is the same as it's very soothing. How are you finding that, Kim? Is it helpful? It makes a big difference. I've seen that. It really, really helps. Love it when it all aligns and glimmers up just when you require the reminder. That's beautiful. Sorry, Nigel, you were saying?
Yeah. Have you heard of mindfulness?
Who?
The word mindfulness.
Yes, dear. I work
Yeah.
with it. It's one of the primary things I work with. Yes.
Yeah. It seems to be the buzzword. There's a lot of people who are involved in that around the world. But
And it's
what?
been around for many years.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that I do what they call you've done what I call a full body scan.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the tension in my body ends up in the shoulders.
Most of us, yes, because the shoulders are about the past and carrying other people's burdens. Yes.
But we also sit down a lot, dear lady. So posture is
Some of us do.
some of us, yeah, okay, maybe not everybody, but if you look at how many jobs these days do you actually walk around? It's behind a computer.
That's true.
Um,
But Nigel, we're not going to get into that now because
no, 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 no. I
I've got
appreciate that,
about
but
3 hours that I would like to compact into 90 minutes.
yeah.
So
Well,
thank you for the reminder.
we'll do a sounding board because I didn't do that in the end because of
Yes,
things.
we
But
can chat about it then. I'm sorry to cut you off. It's just
no,
it's
no,
going to go down a pathway that I can go down and I'd rather not go down at the moment. Okay, so what came forward here was going from meaning to purpose, lightness, love it when it all aligns, had a little tension in the lung area and the throat. Remember, the lung is the heart, it's also emotion, and the throat is about speaking our truth. Now, remember, truth is a very subjective thing. We each have our own truth because we each have our own mission of co-creation. And the mindfulness that Nigel was mentioning is all about that. Deborah saw the color yellow and your intention for 2026. Oh, that's beautiful. Sonia, some tension in the area below the shoulders and the lungs. Again, the shoulders carrying other people's burdens and avoiding rest. And Nigel, you brought up a very interesting point there because we're sitting, we very often we are tense because we're holding our body rather than our legs holding our body. Our core is weak and it's unable to support our shoulders and what we are doing. So when we work with our core, that we can get a lot of tension. And remember, the left side is about the past and it's about rest. The right side is about carrying other people's stuff and doing. I love that, Kim. Sleep is a wonderful thing. Sonia, Deborah Yellow is about your personal power. And I love that you saw your things. Shoulders and lungs, yes. Very tired because Kim, do this for me. Just rub your hands. Oh, you've got your specs on. Rub your hands and you just gently do this. Take a deep breath in and out. And I'm distracting myself here, Nigel. There we go. Just feel that. Feel the beauty of that, allowing it and coming in. Okay, There we are. Kim, you can unmask yourself there. Hey, Jean. All right. So now, how I started on this story was many years ago, I was born. Okay, end of story. That's it. When we come here, we have conditioning, we have reframing, we have beliefs, we have so many things that come with us as we mature in age. Oh, yes, Kim, USA Kim and RSA Kim. I didn't notice that Kim, Kim RSA and Kim O and Kim K. That's what we'll do. Kim O and Kim K. What was I saying? Somebody, I distracted myself there again. Oh, yes. How I got involved with this was my dad passed, and I had a sudden understanding that I've been doing personal development for the last 30 plus years. And I was always intrigued by it, the mindset, everything, but I always felt like there was something missing. And I would have this deep knowing something was important. It was asking me to do it. It was like I would get a flash and it would disappear. You know, when you have those fleeting thoughts. And when my dad passed, I suddenly realized that if something happened to my husband, my business was a hobby rather than an income producing activity. And I went online. I took my business online. At that time, I still had a wellness clinic. And as well as I was working with mindset, and I'd started looking at mindfulness. And when I went online, I came to understand that we are energy and everything in life is energy. And people, this isn't woo woo. There are scientific studies about this. That's how we can have EKG, ECGs, and we can have EEGs, and they can do scans and all of that because of energy. And it's this energy that allows us to feel that deep inner knowing. Does anybody here understand the difference between knowledge and knowing? Pop it in the comments or unmute yourself. Who shall I volunteer? Kim, what is the difference between knowing and knowledge?
I think knowledge is information, facts, something that you learn, that you read. And a knowing is like a deep inner sense. Even if someone else thinks it's not, you just know that that's true.
Yes.
That's real for you. Yeah.
Beautiful. And then Kim O. Jean, yes, knowing is an embodiment. It's that deep, almost instinct, Rachel. Knowing, it's a feeling. It hits your body differently, absolutely, depending on what we're doing. Whereas knowledge is something we've learned. You've come on a circle like this and you've learned something. Whereas knowing is innate. It's straight from the creator. It's straight from source energy. It can also be part of what we are here to achieve. It can also be part of when we have that beautiful vision, that tension that is creating tension and drawing us towards it. That knowing is the steps that are being given to us step by step so that we can get there. And many times knowledge will keep us from understanding our knowing. And Nigel says when it relieved a lot of tension, yes. Okay, that can keep you stuck. Now, when we work with knowing, that is your deep inner sense of, this is what I would like to have. And I do a lot of work with our future self. So you connect with your vision. Who are you when you have that vision, when you have achieved this, when you have experienced this? Because when you do that, that is the bridge across from knowing to doing. It allows you to go, well, I can see, number one, what skills I'm looking to acquire or expand on. Number two, I can understand where I can shift my feeling and my feelings, which shifts my thinkings, thinking, which shifts my words and my actions. It also helps you to see where are you working from constriction rather than from expansion. And that makes a very, very huge difference. Because that gap between the knowing, and you have that knowing, because remember, time isn't linear, time is concurrent. Time only really became linear in, I stand to be corrected, I think it was the 1200s or the 1400s. It became very much linear. They started allocating time. I'm mostly way out of that. But time is a construct. It isn't necessarily part of what we do. So this is why you get senses of deja vu, and you also get that deep inner knowing that I would like to achieve this. This feels good to me. So like I was saying to you, I kept having those fleeting knowings. And when my dad died, it was as though something inside of me was set free. And I went online, and as I started exploring energy and what I can work with and what it really means to have a vision and a dream. Because remember, we have the dream, which is the knowing, and then we get to translate it into the vision, which is asking us to step into the doing. So when we envisioning, we are part of the doing. When we are understanding our vision, we can work with that be, do, and have. When we understand what we would like to have, we understand what requires to be done, and then we can be that person. And that is bridging the gap. So now when I speak to you about the gap, you can unmute yourself or pop it in the comments. What does that gap feel like when you tap into your knowing? And I would like, Steve, can you unmute yourself or not? No. Okay, Sonia, what is that gap for you between the knowing and the doing?
Hi, Janine. For me, it is almost like uncertainty, or don't want to say fearful, but
Oh, please say it. Yes, bring
okay.
it out. Let's address the elephant in the room, the one that's under the rug.
Okay. Yeah, fearful.
Yes.
Actually, you have that knowingness, but also fearful and scared
Yes.
of taking the action and actually putting, into action what you, it's almost like, you want to do this and you have all those feelings and emotions, but it is still being fearful to take the step to actually put it into action. Yeah. That's what it feels like for me. That
And
gap.
who here agrees with Sonia? At the bottom, you've got the react. You can push your heart button if that you agree with Sonia, because yes, I know for me that fear can be terrifying. And when we feel unsafe, when we feel fearful, we become paralyzed. And that is one of the biggest things of the gap. Now, here we have the knowing, here we have the doing, and in between it is either clearing that feeling of unsafety, absolutely resistance to moving, clearing that feeling of being unsafe. Very often we will have the knowing and the clarity is missing. And that was why I was fascinated that at least 2 or 3 of you put their clarity. Because lack of clarity, wanting to have the huge full picture, is one of the biggest gaps. Instead of saying, okay, it's great to have it there. Well, what's my first step? So what I would like you to do right now is to draw for yourself one circle and in it put knowing, draw a second circle and put in it doing. I love that. Freedom to live a life. It's like a chasm. Yes, it is, and one that swallows you. Deborah, I resonate with that. Power, absolutely. Now, in between the knowing and the doing, please write there, safety, fear, understanding, self-sabotage, lacking skills, too big.
Sorry, what was the last one?
T-double-O, big, B-I-G. Too big. Because one of the biggest things I see with people is they have the knowing, and the vision they create is way, way, way out of their comfort zone. And the biggest gap stopping, sorry, Kim O, you're good. Okay. One of the biggest gaps is the vision is overwhelming. It's just too big. And people get very frightened of it. They feel unsafe. They feel uncertain. They have no idea how they're going to get there. It's as though they're working on going from grade 1 into grade 12. They forget that there's steps in between, and that's the gap. So we can either have a gap of constriction and fear, of expansion and upskilling, or lack of clarity around going from here to there. And something that I teach is, I dislike people saying have a dream and a vision that's so big it scares you, because scared people do nothing. They stay in the gap. The gap actually closes over them and buries them. And I'm sorry, I'd rather see a heart than be buried in a fear. And fear, write this down, fear is the signpost towards my dream. Fear takes me, shows me that my knowing is correct and that there is a way of doing it. Because if we had no fear, we have no dream. And that vision is what helps us bridge it. So when I went online, I learned about energy. I learned about working with things that are yet unseen. Because when I can imagine it, I'm seeing it. When I can feel it, I can be it. And I know in the Bible it says, my people shall perish for lack of vision. And it is so true. We lose our confidence, we lose our competence, we lose our sense of being. And it makes us stay stuck. Fear of the unknown, absolutely afraid. It makes us stay stuck. Has anybody got any questions so far in relation to feeling stuck? I fear going where I've never been before, and my vision is built around solid foundations. The thing is, nothing is solid. I am not very good with quantum physics, and yet I enjoy the concept of it because it has helped me understand that there is nothing that is solid. It is our construct of it that makes it solid. So this is why, and I'm using the word why correctly here, because why can land you in so much poop, it's not even funny. This is the reason that we are very careful around what we say and what we feel about what we say, because what matters becomes matter. So if it matters to me to be successful, to have satisfaction, to have financial wealth, abundance, luxury, I can create it into being matter. And this is the reason so many people stay stuck in that gap. They have the knowing, and then they allow fear to put up a barrier rather than a bridge. So, your next question, I would like you to journal on, please. Where have I turned fear into a barrier rather than a bridge in my life in the last 2 or 3 months? And then we're going to explore what happened when you were much younger. For some of us, that's quite a reach back.
Janine, could you say that again, please?
Yes. Where have I turned fear into a barrier, blocking my moving forward, rather than seeing it as a bridge from my knowing into my ability to do and to be?
Thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure. And did you get that? Kim Knight, I see you nodding. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say your surname. Kim K, well, you all know now. What came forward for you there?
Yes, it's just you know, when you hear things and you just really have to contemplate it because you haven't heard it like that before. It's, you know, I don't just move on. I used to do that. That's part of the old Kim. Oh, okay, information, move on. But it's like, wow, like that is really profound, you know. It's I've really got to kind of internalize it, really understand it.
May I offer you something there? I'm so grateful you said that. When you said, I've got to, how did your body feel? Because I felt the pain in your neck.
Oh, okay.
Can you rather
Yes.
say, I've chosen to, or I'm in the process of, and tell me how your body feels? Choose which one feels better for you.
Yeah.
Please say it out loud and
Yeah.
tell me how your body feels.
I've chosen to. I've chosen to. Yeah, it feels exciting. It feels adventurous.
Okay. What comes forward for you around that?
Lightness and doing things that really I enjoy and not what I don't enjoy.
Yes, I love it. Because most of us, thank you, Kim, okay? Most of us block ourselves because we go, well, how did my mother do it? How did I do it before? And we do it at such an unconscious level. And then fear pops up in case, oh, well, what if I do it wrong? What if people judge me? So what if people judge you? Because remember, when people are judging you, they are actually judging themselves. Whenever you criticize, condemn, compare, or complain about somebody, go and look and see what the hook is inside of yourself, because it's there. And you can only see in others what's inside of you. Quite humbling, I have found. Very, very humbling. And it has helped me to avoid going into judgment. Now, sometimes looking at facts, we've got to make a judgment about, are we going to do something? Does it fit with us? That is very different to being in judgment of ourselves, of a situation, of other people. So now, the challenge is when we get the idea, when we get that beautiful invitation, that deep inner knowing, our inner whisper says, oh, wow, let's go for this is a ridiculous example and I'm going to use it anyway. Let's go for an ice cream. Oh no, I can't have ice cream because it's dairy and it'll make me fat and it'll rot my teeth. That's what we do with our knowing. Instead of going, you know what, I can brush my teeth and I can only have one in a year or whatever. Allowing ourselves to allow ourselves to be ourselves and our future self is what takes us from the deep inner knowing towards the doing into the being. And that allows us to step into becoming the person we are to be. Who got lost there? Gabby, would you like to explain what I shared there?
I've just put it in the chat that I'm like, could we please get an example? Because I feel like that was a lot to, I want to say, chew on. So if you wouldn't mind just sort of like really simplifying it. Thank you.
Okay. When I started my business online, I started it as a wellness clinic, and I realized it's something I really didn't want to do anymore. It was just not who I am. And I started understanding I was living my husband's dream. I was being for him rather than for me. So I went and I looked at, well, what does Janine enjoy? What does Janine enjoy being in service towards others for? Where can I shift the way I am so that I can be who the person is that enjoys life, that loves what they do, and it can make a difference at the same time? So I made a conscious decision to let go of where I was working from other people's expectations and started looking at, well, what would I like? What would I enjoy? And that's where I discovered about energy work. I discovered about, wow, our words really do have power. I had understood it. I hadn't had a deep knowing of it. And as I came into that deep knowing, like I asked Kim K, say and tell me the difference in your body, I started understanding, wow, if I can help people come back to their bodies and to understand who they are in this moment rather than who they were and who other people would like them to be and where they're living other people's dreams, I can know who I would like to be now so I can become the person that is the successful transformation coach, the successful healer, the successful person who helps people step forward in their power rather than having to lean on other people's power. How to help people understand we all have shadows. And sometimes, because other people have expectations of us, we can park happiness, joy, being the best coach possible in our shadow side because we're afraid of what other people will do. So we have the knowing of who we would like to be, and we avoid getting to the doing because of what our fear is, what other people's expectations are, and where we refuse to move forward. Did that make sense, Gabs? Share with me what you understood.
Yes, I feel like that offered a ton of clarity because I think in many ways it also speaks into like being afraid of the judgment from family, because obviously that's your closest circle of people, and any kind of facial reaction or like body language tends to also heighten that fear response and keeps myself stuck. So understanding it in a different way of like deeply knowing myself and my abilities and trusting in that to actually make that next step with, even though the family can pull their like body language and to move with like that deeper sense of knowing, that means I'm sort of like falling with trust into this chasm of fear. So that's how I'm basically sort of like seeing that.
the morass of other people's anticipations. Now, I'm going to share something with you about facial expressions. Oh, it matters a lot, Nigel. Nigel just asked, where you born and the culture you brought up in fit in? It's not a theory, it's a proven fact. There's scientific studies done on what I'm sharing with you. So no, it's not a theory. It's actual studies that have been done. This is what I love about what I do. Everything that previously I thought was theories they've had scientific study doing it. Gabby, what I was going to share with you is I have a very expressive face. And it's not always expressing what I'm feeling around what's happening. It is very often something that is bubbling up inside of me from what that person has said. And it's a me thing, not a them thing. And this, I find, is one of the biggest gaps between our knowing and our doing. We take on what is a that person thing, and we think it's a me thing. And that's the barrier I'm asking you to go and explore. Where have you put up a barrier of fear and of fear of judgment rather than putting it this way and walking over it towards what's best to be done? Kim O, did that make sense to you? Because you're very new to this.
It did. I think, yeah.
What came to you?
I would say, well, first of all, this was before you said this, but what first resonated was when you said, come back to who we want to be now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something good for me to continue to remember.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I find that like grounding and just, I don't know, bringing my attention, like just centering, you know.
Something that helps with that is please take your left hand and put it just, you know, where these bones are here, just pop it over there, your left hand. Take your left hand where these bones are, where your neck meets, and just everybody do this with me quickly. Just feel there and say with me, I choose who I am to be now. I choose who I am to be now. And now say with me, please, I be power. I be awareness. I be creativity. I be control. I be money. I be love. I be joy. I be grounded. And use your hand. One here, I be grounded. Grounded. Ha. Let me see you. Ha. Yeah. Well done. Rachel, what came forward for you there? And then I'll share with you what Nigel was saying. You're muted, sweetheart. I can't hear you. Okay. I mean, I'm putting you on the spot. Deborah, I know you can't answer. Nigel was saying it is taking a risk and a big leap of faith to break down the barriers of fear. Now, that's what I was talking about. Avoid taking a big leap, because a big leap is going to put you backwards. We take small steps, small, aligned, authentic steps. What is this knowing? What does this knowing mean for me? What could the end picture of this knowing be? And where is it going to take me to the vision behind my vision? And that's where I go, where am I playing from other people's beliefs, other people's filters, and other people's expectations? Because when we are playing from other people's beliefs, filters, and expectations, we're going to crash and burn. We're going to stay stuck in the gap. And fear is going to consume us rather than guiding us. Fear is there so you don't rush in where angels fear to tread. Fear also comes from the fact that we have been trained to play small and to be in fear and to distrust ourselves. And that is the reason I ask people, well, what energy are you connected to? Are you connected to the energy of an old story, your parents' story, your community story? Alternatively, have you chosen to connect to a new story rather than history? And that's actually what's happening in our world at the moment. Young people are choosing to work from a new story rather than from history. And it's shifting the world in ways that, yes, it's actually small steps. Everybody thinks it's big leaps. It's not. It's actually they are doing it small step by small step by small step. We can learn a lot from them. Gratitude is a huge, huge bridge, Nigel. It's a huge bridge between knowing and doing. When we can be grateful for, well, what have I learned? Where is this taking me to? A book I would like you to read, if you would be open to it, is called The Gap and the Gain by Benjamin Hardy, Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. Have you read it? Who here has read it? It's actually I don't subscribe to all of it. Yeah.
Jenny, Nigel, can you say that book and the names again, please?
I'm putting it in the chat. The Gap and the Gain.
Lovely. Thank you, Jenny.
Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. Now, I find this book very intriguing because he says, let's rather look backwards and celebrate our success. So you project forward and you celebrate backwards, and that's his gap. Whereas what I have seen is, yes, know where you are going, aim for where you are going, and clear what comes up in the way. So whatever fear is coming forward, clear it. Whatever other people are asking you to do that is absolutely against what your knowing is saying, clear it. Because what this does, it gives you a gratitude for a clear view of what you are viewing. And when you are viewing your vision from a space of power, boy, you get into gratitude. Wow, I'm so grateful I know that I get to do my newsletter tomorrow. I'm so grateful that I have all these beautiful people online with me tonight. I am very grateful that just this is helping feed my vision of creating ripples of change through the world. Does that make sense to you? Sonia, does that make sense? You can just put a thumbs up. Something that really, when I was learning, I'm so glad, Deborah. Gratitude is vital. Something that came forward to me so strongly. So many people are focused on a dysregulated nervous system. My nervous system can't do this, and my nervous system can't do that. Well, how about we shift that into saying, yes, I've had trauma. I'm working to other people's expectations. I have a deep knowing that everything is always working out for me. I have a deep knowing that life always gets better than this. And what that does is it immediately allows us to feel safe. Say it with me. Yes, creative writing and journaling is part of that. It's part of working with it. It makes such a difference. The important thing here is when we understand what energy we're connecting with, we can have fear. We can also refuse to play with it. We can rather say to it, okay, I'm fearful of speaking to this person. Well, you know what? That means let me go and speak to that person because I wouldn't have that fear otherwise. Because we also have ego looking to keep us safe and self looking to help us move forward with our knowing. And when we have that deep inner knowing, we go, what's ego and what is self? Because it doesn't matter what's happening. When that fear comes in, it's showing us what to let go of history, where to let go of other people's stuff, and where to let go of our own stuff. And that is what helps us understand, okay, I feel unsafe here. What would it take for me to feel safe? What would it take for me to acquire that first skill? I mean, Kim, I know you've gone and done various studies because you had a vision. So you went and you did this study, then that study, and then that study. And that allows you to move forward in a way towards your vision. You didn't start at the end doing the last thing first. You did the first thing first. And that is what I have seen in my life. What is the first thing first? And then our nervous system goes, okay, I can deal with that. I can live with that, allowing the first thing to be first, rather than trying to do matric in grade 1. Am I saying there aren't children that can do it? Absolutely no, there are. They're the exception rather than the rule. So rather than playing it safe, let's feel safe. Playing it safe keeps us stuck in knowledge. Feeling safe allows us to take that knowing and say, what's my first step? There's the picture. I often say to people, what makes you like, ugh? And we say, okay, we're going to park it in 5 years' time. Let's just take this vision, put it in a beautiful silver ball, and park it in 5 years' time. We'll get there. We'll think about it in 5 years' time. So let's work it backwards. If you want to be there in 5 years' time and you're squeaking about it like it makes a mouse sound like a soprano, bring it backwards. What do we do this week? What I did something at the beginning of last year, how to magnetize the life you desire. Do you know how many people were unable to tell me what they would like to be, do, and have at the end of the year because they felt unsafe? The majority of the people on the call. So we did a journey, we went into it, and we explored it. We brought it back to, so where would you like to be in 3 months' time? What would you like to have learned? Where would you like to have matured a little bit? Like fine wine and cheese, darling. And where would you like just to feel happy and have fun? Oh, everybody perked up and everybody could do it. And you know what? They wound up achieving what they wanted to achieve. We come back to safety because safety allows ego to calm down. And remember, ego is very important. You wish to love on that ego. You wish to, I love you, darling. You're just simply the best. Thank you for being here. Because if you didn't have ego, you'd be dead. So we work with ego rather than against it. And we put it on the back seat with a tablet so it can play. You are the navigator, the driver. You have that GPS, your inner whisper inside of you. Have you ever felt, rather than take the highway, let's go by the byway? I've had that so many times. And it's saved me hours and hours and hours of stuff, being stuck on the highways. Okay, now that I've only done like the first 5 minutes in the first hour, I did tell you it was a 3 hours, hey? We must go to bed tonight. I know Kim and Jean have to do some work as well. All right. The biggest challenge, we get that knowing. It comes from our body. It comes from our heart. It comes from source energy. It comes from being part of a bigger picture. We have a responsibility and accountability. We respond to the ability, not the, oh God, responsibility. It comes from that bigger picture to the collective, to a bigger structure of things that we are unaware of. And yet we are important cogs in that very important wheel of life. And what happens is we have the knowing, and then we cut our entire body off and we only work from our head. People, this is a surprising revelation. Our mind, our body, and our soul enjoy working together. They're a team. They would love to have you work with them as a team. And what have we been taught? Anything below the chin is invalid. It doesn't work. It's not part of us. What I want to tell you, let's lose that story. That's history. When we work with the collective consciousness, the greater picture, and we become part of the greater team of life, and we work with our team of mind, body, and soul, honestly, we get so much more done. Gabby, would you like to weigh in on that? And then I'm going to ask Rachel. So get ready, Rachel.
I absolutely love that, because I think we're also working in that power of 3, and we tend to forget that we live in our bodies. So our bodies are constantly talking. So when you have that body ache, or you're feeling congested, I think we actually had that moment today where I was feeling quite congested in my nose, and through talking through it, it literally just, my nose decided to run and just expel whatever was going on. So it's like having that understanding that all of it, when it does work cohesively, we can understand it better than having to sort of shut it off and, keep burying, because then that's where all the very funny, interesting things come to play. So that's
Yes.
what
Well done. Kim K, would you like to share about that? And then I'll read the comments.
Sorry, and I didn't realize my audio was off. On. Actually, I'd like to share a little story about that. That just happened this week. It's so interesting, as you say, on a academic level, we can learn all of these things, but when it happens, we can't apply it. So someone actually sent me a text message, a friend, a peer colleague on the weekend. She said, I just have to share this, but I've just gotten an interview. And she said, Kim, I feel sick. I feel nauseous. She used the words, I don't want this. I don't want to do it. I feel sick. I don't know what to do. So I actually just messaged her and I said, well, you've told me what you need to do. And I said to her, you know that the body will tell you, but yet when it happens, we ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
So we've learned it factually, but now that it's happening, we go straight to the brain, but I need the job, I need this, but I hate it, I don't want to do it, and so I've kind of fed that back to her. And she said, but my sister said it's just a foot in the door. And then I said, no, it's not a foot in the door. Once you get that interview, it's a job. Okay. So that really helped her. But I thought this was just such a nice story because this really happened. The body was screaming to her. She was sick. She said, Kim, I just feel like crying. I don't know what to do. I needed to tell someone. And anyway, so she was able to make her choice. But we ignore these things because the mind is saying, but you need the money, you need the job, you need
not the mind, it's your ego.
Oh, the
it's
ego.
not your mind, it's your ego. And that's the problem. And then your ego triggers your nervous system, which triggers your gut, When we're unable to swallow what's coming forward, that gut has got receptors in it how do you say scripsphonix in English? How do you say that in English, people?
Shocks or
Shocks, yes. It shocks everybody. It's crazy. I have seen that. That is the reason I come back to something called the game of scales. The game of scales is very important in the knowing and doing. The game of scales is where our nervous system says, you don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. That is inauthentic to us. And all of a sudden, all your clients disappear. Or you say, I'm feeling tired. I feel unsuccessful. And suddenly your money disappears. Your nervous system is actually repelling your clients, is repelling the job, is repelling the work. You've actually just reminded me of something. There's a young man I follow on LinkedIn, and he got retrenched about 4 or 5 months ago. It's not as much as a year. When I saw one of his posts, I'm so afraid I won't get work. I went, oh my. He's been for 27 interviews without one reply back to him. His fear is getting in the way of his doing and his receiving. In the world at the moment, especially the spiritual world, everyone says, you must just allow it. Yeah, you can allow it, but that's great. Be open to receiving it and doing the actions that your knowing is showing you to do. And sometimes that action is lying on the grass and just sunbathing because you're getting into stillness so you can hear what the next best action is. I had like 20 questions for you to journal. I think I will just email them to you. Try your space bar, it'll bypass the actual audio button. Okay. Yes, the fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and flop is what triggers it. Have some fun. Absolutely. Financially better off. That's a story. Sonia, I've made so much progress. Well done. Oh, you know what, Sonia? They come forward all the time. And especially when you make the decision to move forward, that super delicious little, sometimes bratty law of rewrites comes to play. And that law of rewrite says, are you sure? Are you sure you would like this? Okay, I'll help you grow and mature into it. I'll help you develop the skills, and throws everything, including the kitchen sink at you. And you think, my world's falling apart. Instead of saying, oh, I'm so grateful that life is offering me challenges to move forward. Who here knows the DDT, the dreaded drama triangle? I've shared it with so many people this week. The victim, persecutor, and rescuer. When we work in that DDT triangle, we're working from knowledge and we're working from other people's perspectives. Now we can turn that around, and instead of being the victor, we become the creator, and we work with our inner whisper. We work with the creator. We work with the creativity within ourselves that we've been gifted with. We get to work in teams with others. Like tonight, we're working actually as a team. The creator, when you're in victim, the creator goes, there's no space for me. When we're being a rescuer, we're taking other people's power. What if we step into being a coach or a facilitator, where we help them come to understand they can move away from the DDT triangle and step into the empowerment diagram? And what if, instead of being the persecutor, you become a challenger? Now remember, a challenge can be overwhelming, and it can also be constructive. Challenges will come to us to improve our abilities, to improve our strength, to help us tap into our knowing and step away from our victim. Because when we step into our knowing, fear is actually the challenge. It's also a coach because it's showing us what to shift. And once we've shifted it, we become the creator. People, is this making sense? I've lost the comments, people. Well done, Sonia. Excellent, Nigel. Have fun. Yes, absolutely. I think I've got everybody's here. There. Celebrate. Yes. Become the hero of your story. And one of the challenges of becoming a hero of your story is that people forget before the person becomes the hero, they get to move from that victim, persecutor, rescuer triangle into a more aligned triangle that makes life easier. Does that make sense?
Janine, can I?
Yeah, Nigel?
Yeah, I know you've got a lot to do tonight, and it's been so enlightening. And I'm looking for the cheese and wine, but we'll deal with that another day. Anyway, yeah, it was my birthday on Sunday. I was 63. So anyway,
Happy birthday to you.
thank you. You should have been a singer and an actress. You got everything. What I was going to pick up on very quickly, because everybody has got a story, as my mother used to say. Some are, sorry, everyone's got a story, but they're all different. But what I've seen tonight, it doesn't matter where you come from, where we've got commonalities, Janine. It doesn't matter if you're 62, what your colour of your skin.
Yes.
What brings us all together is probably house, more than anything else. But I get goose pimples because it's being a bit slow down. I got autism. I'm going 1,000 miles an hour here. I'm taking on pigeons as well, Janine, but never mind.
Sweetheart, you have not got autism. You have a creative brain.
Thank you. That's it again. That's just, yeah, I know. That's
So
how I've
let's
been.
work from the creator rather than the victim.
Thank you so much, you see, because do you see that way? I've been, what's it? Conformity. Us
How
Brits are
boring.
not, we're quite good at knocking ourselves. Anyway, I could go on.
My dear,
What I'm
that is
saying is,
universal. It is not just the British.
no, I know, but that's all I know really until I met you. But I think our story never stops.
That
Each
is so
day is a different day, and God bless.
all right from it to go, yeah.
Yeah, each day is a different day, but just I know the temperature, but I've got the open skies, I've got the sun. That's what gets me through the difficult times, and being appreciative of what I have got rather than what I haven't got.
That's
Thank you,
it.
Janine.
And you're so welcome. And Nigel, that's what takes us from knowing. We cross over a bridge rather than having to climb down into the valley and all the way up and down to the doing. Now, so I'm going to give you something very radical and then we're going to close off. I avoid using the word discipline because many people say it takes discipline to move from knowing to doing. Discipline, say the word discipline and feel your body. Doesn't feel so good, does it? Sonia, how did that feel?
Yeah, can I just say something? Yeah, to me, discipline relates to negativity.
Thank you.
That's why your body tightens up. It creates fear. It actually instills fear in people. And especially for me, being a victim of workplace bullying, as soon as you mention discipline, it's like, oh my gosh, you just tighten up. So I also move away from discipline, and rather look for other words.
Devotion.
And
We've
work,
replaced it
yeah,
with devotion, yes. Sonia, may
yes,
I ask you to pivot something in your story?
yes,
You weren't a victim of office bullying. That was the reality. We are now
yes,
pivoting the story to share, wow, life was offering me a challenge to move forward so I can be in service to those looking to move from victimhood. So it was a challenge. You are unavailable to be a victim. That is the reality of it, and we can shift it. That takes it from knowledge into knowing, into the doing and the receiving and the achieving. Because we get to allow, to receive, and achieve. That's the doing that we ask for. So thank you so much for sharing that.
good.
That was the
Yeah.
challenge in the empowerment triangle rather than the victim in the. Does anybody here remember DDT? It was a very dastardly poison. So when they called it the DDT, the dastardly drama triangle, I went, that's the poison. Can you feel your body relax when I offer you this new story?
Absolutely, absolutely, Janine. Thank you so much.
What happened in your body?
It just felt more relaxed and safe. Safe.
V for victory, people! Let me see you! V
Safe.
for victory!
Absolutely made me feel safe. And when I look back, it is exactly that was what it is. How you articulated it now is exactly how it is. It was the challenge that moved me forward to the person I am currently. And if I look back, I am a completely different person to who I was 2-3 years ago.
And can you see that by doing that, you have helped many people in the business you are currently in to help them change their lives and their stories? So, were you a victim or were you a creator working through a challenge and allowing life to coach you?
Definitely a creator.
Yay! V for victory! Let me see it! Give it up for the lady! People.
Thank you for that, Janine. That helped a lot now. Wow. Thanks.
I'm so glad. Deborah, when your chest gets tight, just let it go. And what we replace the word discipline. Now, the reason why we tighten up from discipline, remember the word discipline comes from disciple, which means to follow somebody else's idea. We tighten up because we meant to be walking our path rather than somebody else's path. And that's why I'm gifting you people this information. You take it and you go make it your own rather than Janine's. And that is the way you get from knowing into doing, allowing, and receiving and achieving. Discipline reminds me of bullying and abuse witnessed in your life, and you go rigid. There's a saying that sticks and stones may break my bones. Oh, I don't agree with that saying. The energy of words can kill you faster than sticks and stones. It just is less painful sometimes. Let's avoid politics, Nigel. That's an energetic story that we look at it and we say, so how does life get any better than this? Politics is truth and the person's name. How does life, and use your hands, let me see your hands, how does life get any better than this? Because what we do, we put it away from our energy, we put it away from ourselves, and we focus instead on our vision. when we focus on our vision, it inspires us, it creates tension, and it draws us over the gap without a bridge. That elastic band goes, boing, and we're there because it's our vision pulling us. When we have that vision, excitement is the firelighter or the match for our intention and our inspiration, because inspiration carries us far further than discipline. Devotion takes us way further towards our inspiration and our intention. And that is what doing is. Stepping into that intention and that inspiration and allowing the creation. Thank you, people. Take a deep breath in after you finished writing. And just sigh it out. Would anybody like to share anything? Kim, you muted, Doc.
I would like to ask a question, Janine. So, I just love all these things, and I'm a reminder person. So being reminded, challenges are actually there to shift you, to help you, to support you. Life is working for you. I truly believe this. And I've gotten much better at living my life in this way. But my question is, I think I know the answer. Practice, practice, practice. But, no. How do you just to remember, like in the moment when the dodos hit the fan and you can't see the wood for the trees, then how do you remember that shifting the triangle? How do you remember that challenges are there to actually help you shift into the next phase of your life? How do you remember that to actually then employ it?
The reason I said about practice, it's not practice. Practice means you haven't mastered it. It's mastering it. It's applying it and mastering it. When you practice, you just, in case it's not so important. If I remember it, it's okay. Or if I don't remember it, it's also okay. It's an interesting energy to connect to. Whereas when we say to ourselves, so what do I do to master this? For me, I journal. I write out my tools. I write out that, how does life get any better than this? I wrote out 100 times for 10 days. So that and every time I thought of something, how does life get any better than this? I chose to master it. Am I practicing it? Yes. So we are splitting hairs. It's the energy of it. We are making the decision to be devoted towards mastering it so it can transform us. And when we are transformed, the stuff is unable to get to us. That's why, from a spiritual sense, so many people say to me, well, how do I protect myself from low vibrational energy? You don't. You raise your energy and it is unable to reach you. Or you recognize the energy and you shift it. You master shifting the energy. Because when you can shift it, that's when you go from the knowing into the doing. And then the self-sabotage pops up and you say, listen, sweetheart, thank you for coming forward, ego. I love you. Let me wrap you in your wonderful red fluffy blanket. Here's a hot chocolate. Go and play. I know I'm being facetious, but literally that's what I do. And the people who know me know I do this. So a little bit of Janine you're getting for free. The bottom line is everybody feels they have to practice, practice, practice. Where did mastery go out the door? Where did transformation leave? We apply it. And that's the big thing. People are so busy learning and so busy developing, they forget a little fact that it's called, let's do some integrating. Let's do some implementing so we can do integrating, so we can do inspirationing. That's a new word. I've never heard of it before. Selfish is self and awareness that comes with it. Absolutely. Can we rather shift that you never stop learning about yourself? Some people never learn about themselves. They refuse it. Let's rather say it's a great choice to keep learning about ourselves. Let's shift the energy of that. It all comes back to what is the feeling we get. And when we come back into our body, we can take that knowing, and mind, body, and soul can work towards the implementing and the achieving and the actualizing. So the gap is often the soul asking us to become whole. That gap of, I can't do it, other people will judge me. When we have that knowing, it's the soul asking us to fly over the gap of other people's points of view, of our points of view and our fears, and become whole. When we learn to explore the gap, it awakens awareness. When we awaken awareness, it's as though everything just falls into place and the inspiration comes to play. The implementation shows us the way, and the integration allows us to achieve that beautiful vision we have, and then the vision behind the vision, and the vision behind the vision of the vision. And that is what doing is. Questions? We have got 4 minutes. Gabby.
So I'm not sure it's a question, but I really like what you mentioned about the devotion drawing us further to our vision. And I think it's also like the word devotion for me feels like there's some kind of strength and power in it, because we devote our days to waking up, going to work, making sure bills are paid, and all of that kind of stuff. And the way you've framed even the whole circle, for me, what is really sticking forward is that it's devoting to myself first this time. Like, I get to show up differently and allow those ripples to then do what they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it means I'm also learning how to fly over the gap instead of trying to push down a wall, because that never works for me. I have tried it before, but only can do a push-up. So I haven't managed the breakdown. But anyway, we're good. So yes. Yes. Okay.
It's energy. You just say to it, bye. You know Janine's song, I drove my Chevy to the levee and I dropped it in the drive. Good old boys. We won't finish this one. Kim.
No, I was just, Gabby, I just wrote in the chat that I feel exactly the same way about the word devotion. You know, it's actually just shifted a whole lot for me, because I'm really, you know, I will say to friends and that, you know, like self-mastery, I believe that, you know, that, yes, that's the aim and that's the goal. And then they laugh at me and I'm saying, well, it's possible. I mean, that's the point, self-mastery, you know, but they think they really just like look at me, and it's so interesting. So I really love this. It shifted the whole idea of that, and because I want to master this, but the devotion to it, the devotion, instead of hardcore discipline and practice and get up in the morning and do this first thing in the morning, it's a completely different feeling for me.
It's a different energy. Also, remember, devotion is a choice. Discipline, somebody else is
Yes,
imposing it. It's an
yes,
imposing.
yes.
I see you're saying the same as Gabby. Just love the word and idea of devotion. It shifts a lot for you. Unmet needs and patience from Nigel. Nigel, this won't go down. Deborah, funny enough, I wrote down to create my daily devotion. It is. There was something else I wanted to share with you. You said something in the beginning. Oh, self-acceptance. Remember, before we achieve self-mastery, we achieve self-acceptance, self-love, and then self-mastery. So it's to accept what it is we are looking to master. Do we love ourselves enough to receive it? And then we are able to master it. It's all a process. And that is the reason we look at, okay, this is the knowing. What does the doing involve? Do I have the skills? Do I release history? What is my next best step? What do I allow and what do I receive? Open my hands and draw it in, please. And just feel it. Because when we feel it, we can see it. When we see it, we can speak it. And then we create the devotion to the doing. Mind, body, and soul. What's the energy you're connected to? What's asking to be cleared so you have a clear point of view? Get curious so you can step from knowledge into knowing. And then create what is calling your name. Because then, rather than chasing, we step into creating, magnetizing, inspiring, and transformation. And thank you for joining me. That's us for tonight. Yes, we are
Thank
in
you
the
very much,
present.
Janine.
You are so welcome. Nigel says reframing it in the positive. We are in the present moment. You're so important. May I ask you, did your intentions come to fruition?
Yes.
Nigel?
Sorry, I was half asleep there, Janine. The heat's hitting me.
Sure. Everybody, have a beautiful, beautiful evening. And those on the replay, if you have questions, please reach out and let me hear them. I'd like to offer you, I am doing a 6-week circle. It is $450. Reach out if you're interested in doing it with me. We are going to be doing Step In and Bloom, because many of us forget that blooming is part of life and we can choose. Pruning is also part of blooming. Ha! And on that note, cheerio.
Goodbye,
Thanks, Janine.
Bye
Janine.
bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye.
Gotta find where to